These are COD zombie features that never returned. In Call of the Dead, we have George Romero, who wanders the map until you kill him, but is an extremely high amount of health, so he's practically there with you the whole game. There's never been a boss type in Zombies to return that would act like this. Most, if not zombie bosses we have now, are either in boss fights or they'll come in and you can kill them relatively quickly, making George one of the hardest bosses, I guess you could say, in COD Zombies. But maybe the lack of one of these bosses in future zombie maps was for the better, as a lot of players were frustrated by George. A feature that has never really returned is the zero gravity in Moon. There's a few exceptions to this, like in Horizon Draka, where you have the pyramid room where you can activate zero gravity, but it's not a permanent feature on the map, unlike in Moon. The first and last time we've seen a proper ranking system in Zombies was in Black Ops 2. Don't get me wrong, in Black Ops 3 and onwards we've had a leveling system, but that doesn't really show player skill, whilst this system does. We all remember the skull and crossbones from Black Ops 2 and all the other various rankings you can have, and the way you get your rank up in this game is rounds divided by downs. So ideally, if you didn't have any downs, you got to round 100 on every zombie map, you'd be on a really high rank, but the poorer you started to perform, your rank would go down. Another system that never returned in Zombies was the locker. This only applied to the maps Transit, Die Rise, and Buried though. Essentially the way it worked is, if there was a weapon that you enjoyed that wasn't the Mustang and Sally or Wonder Weapon, you could put it in the fridge or locker and then pick it up in one of the other maps. And then vice versa, you can put it back in, and then you can pick it up in one of the other maps you want to play. A really cool system we just never seen return. Another feature we've never seen return in Zombies is the bank system, and this again takes place across Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. Essentially, you can deposit money and then pick it up in one of the other maps. So if you have a few 100,000 points and you want to save some in the bank for future games, this is your way to do it. I guess you could say these features never really returned because we had Gobblegums in Black Ops 3. That's probably the best explanation for it. But another cool Zombies feature that never returned was the chalk drawings on the wall, where you could pick up a drawing that you wanted, take it to any location on the map with a question mark, and draw it on the wall, and then that wall space will have that weapon. This feature was only available in Buried, and it made the map a lot more replayable because you could really customize the map to your liking. Another feature we haven't seen since Black Ops 2 is making a big map into smaller map. For example, Transit. So obviously we have the base map Transit, which is the whole collection of the maps, but then you can either play Town, Bus Depot, or Farm on solo or on co-op, where all the maps have a different playstyle. For example, Bus Depot has no perks, no power, no pack-a-punch, no nothing. Farm only has perks, and then Town has perks and pack-a-punch, offering a different gameplay experience for each of the maps that are in Transit. Another Zombies feature we've never seen return is a mode of transport where you can upgrade it and really progress with it. You can add attachments to the bus to make it more efficient as you go around the map. On that note as well, we've never really seen a transport system like Transit return, where the bus is a really important way of travel. Don't get me wrong, we have maps like Shadows of Evil where the transport in that system makes everything faster and gets you from point A to point B quicker, but the Transit bus is more than that. It's like the glowing gem of Transit. You don't really not get to use this, or you can run in the fog and get attacked for 5 minutes. The choice is completely up to you, but I know I would rather. This one zombie feature didn't return, but it's probably for the best. In Transit, you have the power turbine, and it could do certain things for you around the map. It could open certain doors, like you're seeing here. It can turn on some of these lamps around the map where you can teleport. But something else it does that I think people don't remember just because of how useless it is it can actually turn on perks around the map. So I can buy Speed Color right now and I get it, which is great. But I pick this up, Speed Color goes off, and I lose that perk. Notice how my reloads are still really slow? It's because I don't have the perk. Now some people might say this is useful when you actually turn on power and then you'll get all your perks at once. Another feature that would never return to COD Zombies would be the elevator system from Die Rise. But this is for good reason. You completely relied on the elevators to get from point A to point B on Die Rise. Alongside that, you also relied on them to get your perks, your pack-a-punch weapons, which made the gameplay experience not that great. Hence why I believe we'd never really seen this system return. Another great feature we have not seen return in COD Zombies for a number of years now is the Afterlife system in Mob of the Dead. The way the Afterlife system works is quite simple. You can use it to shot things around the map, to open certain doors, you can use it to revive yourself, and instead of having a perk like Quick Revive on the map, you have the Afterlife system instead. So instead of getting Quick Revive, you'll have Afterlife instead, and you'll get a new Afterlife each round. Another zombies feature we've never really seen return is zombie blood as a drop. There are other ways to kind of access it, but it's never really called Zombies Blood. Origins is the only map you can get this on. And the main reason it didn't return as a drop is obviously because we have things like Gobblegums in future games. One feature that never returned from Exo Zombies was the terminal system, where you could interact with these little computers and you'd get 100 points. Another feature that didn't return was the drops that you could get, where it dropped random items or abilities. One more feature that wouldn't return to other zombie games would be the exo movement, obviously, because, well, there's not an Advanced Warfare 2 and people didn't really take too kindly to the exosuits. One other feature Exo Zombies has that no other zombie game has had since is when you pause, you can see a full outlining of the map, the perks, the pack-a-punch, and everything else. Black Ops 3 had many things that wouldn't return to the Zombies franchise, one of these being Newton's Cookbook. One feature that never returned was the boss fight mode in Infinite Warfare Zombies. This game mode would allow you to play for the boss fights that you could only access for doing the Easter eggs, but instead of that, you could just jump right into it, which is something we've never seen in Zombies before. I think this would have been such a big opportunity to have a really good game mode in Black Ops 4, since that game has so many boss fights in it. It's just such a shame it never came back. Another feature that was removed from future zombie games that would have been incredible is the armory system, where you could earn in-game credits to unlock special variants of weapons. And some of these weapons were pretty overpowered, and unique for a matter of fact as well. Another system that has never returned is the mod system from World War II Zombies. This was essentially a system that would allow you to load in with a few perks from the start of the match. A really cool system, and I have no idea why they never brought this back. Something else that never returned properly from World War II was the order system, where you could come and collect orders and get rewarded with supply drops, army credits, and even sometimes weapons. Another feature that has never returned from World War II Zombies is the dropping point system. Let's say one of your friends wants to buy something but they don't have enough points, you can just press 2 and then drop points for them. As easy as that, and if you change your mind, you can go and grab them. One other feature that never returned from World War II Zombies was the shovel feature, where you could use it as a standard melee weapon, but then you could also do a takedown attack on zombies as well. That would always guarantee a kill. So Black Ops 4 is one of them games that experimented with a lot of systems and features in the game itself. So a lot of them weren't going to come back to Cold War just because of how vastly different they were and the reception they got. One of these being the perk and class system in general. This would be the last time we'd ever see Gobblegums or Elixirs even, because this is the last game where we had a Gobblegum system or an Elixir system, because it was kind of like pay to win. But more importantly, I would say it is the first and last game where we got to pick our perks on the map. So Black Ops 4 is the game with the most perks in Zombies, with a whopping 18 if you count Secret Sauce as well. So realistically, all these perks weren't going to get on the map, so you had 4 perk machines or perk statues that you could choose from to select your perks that you wanted. And as I stated before, the reason this system never returned is because people just didn't like it. It's also the first and last time we'd have the talisman system, which was something I never used. Another feature that didn't return from Black Ops 4 was the mutations feature, where you could really customize your game to your liking. If you want to start in round 50, that's something you can absolutely do. Let's say you wanted power on from the start of the match, absolutely. Let's say for weapons, you want sniper rifles, but you don't want the rest of the guns in the game. You can do that as well. You have a wide variety of control over the enemies and health and speed, and the players themselves. The main reason this didn't return is, well, one, it takes a lot of time and effort to have this system in, and for people not to really use it, but the reason people didn't use it was because you couldn't do Easter eggs with it. Another feature that was removed from Zombies was specialist weapons, but these would be replaced with special abilities, or field upgrades, if I'm being more accurate. So whilst Cold War and Vanguard abilities are more passive-aggressive, the abilities in Black Ops 4 are more aggressive than anything, and are designed more for killing. To be honest, I don't know what system I like more. I think the specialist weapons are cool, but you get a lot more out of the field upgrades. And our last feature that never came back to Zombies was the riot shield. Black Ops 4 was the last game to have the actual riot shield. I know, it's crazy. Most likely the reason for this is since Cold War was designed a lot differently to the traditional Zombies game, kind of like how Black Ops 4 was, I think they wanted to balance it a bit more, and since they had an armor system, maybe it would make much sense to have a shield as well, since you already get a fair amount of health in that game. Since Cold War and Vanguard are the most current games, I'm not going to be covering them because they have new features and stuff, but we'll have to wait and see if they return or not. Check out this video here to see one thing I would change about every single zombie map, and goodbye.